Oh, happy Friday, everybody. Not such a happy Thursday night for fantasy managers, but things will get better. Welcome to Fantasy Football Today, presented by BetMGM, the sportsbook born in Vegas. Adam Azer, Dave Richard, Jamie Eisenberg. Happy Friday, Dave.
Yo, not for me. I have Cortland Sutton on my teams. That sucked.
Dave, I don't want to hear it. You started Troy Franklin against me yesterday.
I've got him on some of my teams too, yes.
Happy Friday, Jamie.
What a shiitake burger of a game that was.
Dude, come on.
I can't remember the last time I've had a delicious shiitake burger.
Oh, gosh. Jamie is
I don't even know if those exist.
They probably exist. I remember ordering a mushroom burger once, a portobello mushroom burger, and thinking, oh, this is going to be a cheeseburger with a big portobello mushroom on it. It was just a big fat mushroom. That was the burger. It was just a big mushroom with a bun. It got ripped off there, like when I drafted Cortland Sutton. All right, we'll start with that game, and then we will talk about 6 NFC home games, and they are Philadelphia at Green Bay on Monday night. That's an exciting one. Detroit at Washington, Giants at the Bears, Rams at the Niners, Arizona at Seattle. Ooh, the NFC West, big matchups. And New Orleans is at Carolina. Ooh, the NFC South, whatever. All right, let's start with Denver 10, Las Vegas 7. The Raiders lost both starting guards to injuries.
That's why it was bad.
The audience lost its dinner during the match.
What was the worst part of the game? If you had to pick one thing, like if someone came to you, an alien landed on Earth and said, "Ugh, this is the worst thing I've ever seen," or tell me the worst thing you've ever seen in a football game, and you had to pick something from that game, what would it be?
It was easy. It was the throw where Pat Bryant started to go for it, pulled his arms back, and then it hit Franklin in the hands because he was distracted, and then it was intercepted. That was a microcosm. The punts were terrible.
Yeah. Well, a lot of AJ Cole's punts that weren't blocked were pretty good.
How about the 3rd and 1 call? Let's do a reverse to Cortland Sutton to try.
Yeah, that was great.
So stupid.
Yeah,
that's really bad. So, all right, concerns about Sutton and or Bowers, Jamie?
I mean, Bowers not really. No, that's just a great defense, and they get Dallas next week, so I have no concerns about anything Raiders related unless Geno Smith is actually hurt. In the case of the Broncos, I mean, look, Bo Nix is not playing very well. He's gotten lucky with some of his production and matchups, but like when you break it down, like he's not making a lot of throws from the pocket, and just the offense feels off schedule a lot, and it's frustrating at times. But there's a buy low window here for Cortland Sutton. He's still too good and still going to get his targets and opportunities at some point this season. So if you can get him as cheap as you possibly can, which is where he's at right now, I would do so.
I don't know, man. 16 targets in his last 3 games to 27 for Troy Franklin. And it's another game where Franklin outproduces him in a huge way. And you watch him, it's clear that Franklin's faster than Sutton. He's still making mistakes. He's still like the tip pass that was an interception. That's another play that'll make the alien run back to Planet 9. I think that he's got a shot. Like Franklin has these opportunities to emerge as the main guy, and they're trying to make him the main guy. Bo Nix is leaning on him. It's not like Cortland Sutton's getting double teamed, and he's just inconsistent. I wish he were more consistent, but in the meantime, I think you've got to think of these guys ranked closer together. And I'm not sure if I can commit to Cortland Sutton being ranked higher than Troy Franklin moving forward, because the targets haven't been there. He's not getting open as easily as Troy Franklin, and he's not even getting open as fast as Troy Franklin is, and Franklin is outdrawing him in targets. And I kind of saw this a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, and I kind of thought what you thought, Jamie, like, don't worry, it's Cortland Sutton. He'll turn it around, and he still might, but they're not the same type of receiver. And for what Denver needs right now, they need guys who can get open, and Franklin's doing a better job of that than Sutton at this point.
Well, he's got more targets on the year than Sutton, 73 to 66. How about the red zone targets?
The last 3 games. It wasn't always that way.
Yeah.
Red zone targets, what have they got?
14 for Franklin, 5 for Sutton. Green zone targets, 7 for Franklin, 3 for Sutton. End zone targets, 8 to 6 in favor of Franklin. And then how about targets at or behind the line of scrimmage? This is a staple of a Sean Payton offense. 18 for Franklin. He leads the team. 18 for Franklin at or behind the line of scrimmage. 1 for Sutton. So they're going to have to start connecting on some downfield throws with Cortland Sutton. Jamie, he's not. You're absolutely right. I agree completely. He's not going to be this bad. But I thought last week was the buy low.
Yeah.
Disappointing that it didn't happen this week, but horrible game. He was under pressure a decent amount. Bo Nix, and what did he throw for, like 150 yards? So, your thoughts on Genty, and keep in mind that both guards left with an injury. Don't know the severity, and they have a long week, obviously, before they face Dallas next week, which is great. But Genty, Dave, you kind of talked about it. Inefficient. You call them a sell high because he's not running. 19 carries for 60 yards and a touchdown, 3 catches for 3 yards. What are your thoughts there?
I thought Genty was the main part of Las Vegas's game plan at the beginning. And then once the guards went out, I don't know if the Raiders could really do much of anything on offense. I would still say that if you can sell high on Genty, you can, but it's not get him off your team. He's gross. It's try and turn him into a better player while he's delivering good fantasy point production. It's just not where we drafted him. He's not giving us the production of what we drafted him for. And we talk about that Cowboys matchup as a really favorable one for him. Number one, who knows if the offensive line is going to be any good? We already know that Jackson Powers Johnson isn't going to be back anytime soon. And it's realistic that the other guard, Parham, might not play either. He had a high ankle sprain after the game. And number two, Dallas just got Quinnen Williams, and for whatever it's worth, Logan Wilson and DeMar Overshown's going to be back. That defensive front can end up being decent, if not good, against opposing running games moving forward. So I can't look at that matchup and say, oh yeah, slam dunk, Ashton Genty, top 10 running back. I think that Dallas will give them quite a bit there, especially with Quinnen Williams teaming with Kenny Clark on that D-line.
All right. I don't know that there's much else to say here. We should probably just say something about Bowers, but Dobbins was 79% started this week. It's just so frustrating. If he doesn't score, yeah, and this is what you're looking at. You just got to hope that he's gone 5 straight games without a touchdown. Scored 4 times in his first 5 games, and now 0 times in his next 5 games. It's very simple. He scores, he's going to have a solid game. If he doesn't, he's going to get you around 9 fantasy points, basically. All right, and then is there any reason to think that Brock Bowers is not the number 1 tight end going forward?
You can make the case. Go ahead, Jamie.
Well, first off, Trey McBride's been amazing with Jacoby Brissett, so there's part of it. I think you look at the way the position is. This is kind of what my point was on Wednesday when I said he's a sell high candidate. There's a lot of great tight ends here, and that might have been his best game. So after you get past Dallas,
his best game.
Huh?
It better have been his best game. 40-something points.
I mean, I hope he could have another one.
That'd be amazing.
I don't think it will, but I mean, listen, you get past Dallas, the schedule gets brutal. You're still relying on Geno Smith, and I know Heath's counter to this was we got a 100-yard game from him in 3 quarters or whatever it was, the first half in New England in week 1. Then he comes back from the injury after getting healthy and he looks like that. There's still a lot of options at this position. And so that I don't want to revisit that. But in any event, yes, he's going to be fine. You're going to start him every week. It's just there's going to be bad games. I mean, that's just the nature of most players. You just hope it's not as bad as this.
Damn, man. Dude averages 23.5 PPR points in his last 2 games. And I was just messing around.
Do you know what McBride's averaging in the 3 games with Jacoby?
It's huge. It's been north of 15 PPR in each of those games.
It's over 20.
Oh, wow. Yeah. One of those games, Marvin Harrison left with an injury and he went nuts. But
stop. Don't age your stat that one.
He's been true. All right, football fans, picture this. You bet on your favorite player to score the first touchdown of the game, but his teammate scores instead. If this happens, BetMGM wants to give you another chance at the end zone. With BetMGM's second chance promotion, you're going to get your stake back if your first touchdown scorer scores second instead. That's right. Bet on any pro football player to score the first touchdown of the game. If you're right, you win. If your player scores second, you get your stake back in cash. With BetMGM's second chance offer, you have a chance to keep the fun going after the first player crosses the goal line. Try a first touchdown scorer wager with confidence today. BetMGM, make it legendary. Man, I can feel like an illness coming on here. I feel like I'm getting a little nasal. Why does this have to happen on Friday? This couldn't happen on Monday, and then I could miss a few days of work.
You got the Smokies after watching that game last night.
I think so. All right, news and notes. Am I crazy, or do we still not know who the Jets starting quarterback is going to be this week?
I don't think there's been official word given. So
This is insane. It's Friday. Come on. All right, we don't know it's going to be.
you know what though? Seriously, if you're starting like to feel a little, congestion or something, you get like a nose drip.
Someone wrote us an email for the mailbag that's like, do your breathe right, and then 3 other brands.
What if you and I show up on the mailbag today wearing nose strips? Don't tell them.
I would do it. I just don't have one.
Oh, imagine if there was a store in America that you could go buy one.
I don't have time to go to the store.
You don't have time?
No, I'm going to have about 40 minutes after I'm done editing to get the notes together for the next show and get on the air, and I don't have time to run to the store.
Could you make one in your house? Find like
right. I'll do like a piece of paper.
No, or like tape. Like maybe you've got some duct tape or some black or blue colored tape, and you just make a little strip and you put it over your nose.
I'll do it.
All
right. Kyler Murray is on IR. He's out at least the next 4 games. CJ Stroud is out, and Brock Purdy, we still don't know. He's been limited in practice.
Everybody's telling you could DoorDash to get one.
I'm not DoorDashing to get a nose strip. That's insane.
It'll cost you like $27, but
yeah, I know exactly.
Expensive.
I remember one year I asked if I could expense one of the Halloween costumes that I wore, and I got like a very you can do it this time, but I'm not happy about it. It was weird. I was like, really? I thought you'd be cool with that. So no, I'm not expensing a 27.
You know what Nando used to expense?
No, jeez. All right, sorry. Running back Ramondre Stevenson mispracticed again, so could be a Travion Henderson day. Aaron Jones was limited, so he looks like he's going to be playing. Rico Dowdle was limited. DeAndre Swift and Kyle Monangai practiced in full, so they look like they're good to go, and we'll talk about that game soon. Quinshon Judkins, good to go. James Cook returned to practice with the ankle injury. That was good to see. So probably
I haven't dropped so many a player so many times like I did Ray Davis yesterday.
Yeah, I didn't drop him yet, just in case, but I understand if people are dropping Ray Davis. We're not expecting Bucky Irving. We're not expecting Trey Benson. Nick Chubb went from not practicing to limited. Saquon Barkley practiced in full. That's great. Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt's back. And the Chiefs apparently are optimistic that Isaiah Pacheco will be back after the bye week, according to ESPN. Let's see. Wide receiver. Puka is going to play. Brian Thomas Jr. probably not going to play. Terry McLaurin, he's probably not going to play. A.J. Brown practiced in full. Excellent news there. We might get... What's that, Dave?
Nothing.
We might get Matthew Golden and Dontavian Wicks this week. So those guys were limited in practice. Kayshon Boutte missed practice again. Chris Godwin is likely out until at least late November. So did that change anyone's thinking on just the long-term outlook for Tez Johnson, Cade Otton, et cetera, Jamie?
Absolutely. I mean, this was the thing we talked about on the waiver wire when Mike Evans first got hurt, and how much should you spend on Tez Johnson? There's the potential upside of Godwin not returning until after their bye, and spend as much as you need to on a guy that could be a long-term ad, or there was the risk of Godwin coming back post-bye. And so here we are. So I think anybody that dropped him, hopefully you're able to pick him back up. Anybody that held on to him is pretty happy about that. It was just a gamble. And so the gamble to, spend fab on him and hold on to him has paid off.
Okay. And let's see what else. Roma Dunze and DJ Moore practice. They should be good. A couple of deep league guys. Well, I can't say Isaac Tesla, but apparently they want to get him more involved.
Luther Burden, don't forget if he's on Bears.
Oh, yeah, he practiced in full. Devon Vele for the Saints. They said they want to get him more involved rest of season. Oh, how about Harold Fannin missing practice with a hamstring injury? That's big news. David, let's check the roster percentage for David Njoku.
It's about 50%.
It's up to 61 now.
It's about 61%.
So people reacting to that. Is he going to be a top 12 tight end if Fannin is out?
Absolutely.
Yes. With Cole Kmet practicing in full, would you go Njoku or if Fannin's out, Njoku or Loveland?
Njoku.
I think I'm going Njoku anyway.
All right. And then I'm going to skip the other stuff here, except Dave, I'll throw this to you. Is there a defense that's particularly injured or any defenses that are injured that you want to highlight for fantasy purposes?
Commanders defense is a total mess right now. So start your Lions and feel really good about that. There's probably some others if you if we roll through the show, I'll point them out as we
Well,
go.
the Colts have two defensive, like Sauce is going to play, but two starting defensive linemen, I think, for the Colts are out. Is that a big deal?
Buckner's out. That's huge.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know about
literally.
Yeah. Is that a big deal or no?
Go ahead, play your song.
No, hit the rug. Is that? Das ist das. Oh, no, wait. We're going to start it over. Das ist das mit dem Walk, ja. The Falcons gegen Cole Offense is terrible. Football in Deutschland, ja. Das ist das mit dem Walk. Hey! I swear the translation's different this year. I don't know. I really botched that. Sorry.
Is this really your game of the week?
Maybe it is. Colts Falcons. It's a good game. Oh man.
It could be a good game, yes.
All right, we'll take a break and have a new host when we come back on Fantasy Football Today.
Yeah.
All right, welcome back. One question for each game. Philadelphia's at Green Bay. Dave, are you confident in A.J. Brown?
I think you have to be. I like that he's practicing in full, should be available for his regular allotment of routes. Hopefully the targets will be there. Playing his own team, he usually doesn't get as many targets against zone as he does man, but I still think he's a good number 2 receiver.
Okay. And Detroit's at Washington. Another receiver question. I'll throw a running back in there too. Jamie, rank Jameson Williams, Deebo Samuel, and David Montgomery.
What scoring?
Let's go with half PPR. J-Mo, Deebo, Montgomery.
Montgomery, J-Mo, Debo.
Ooh.
J-Mo, Deebo. Montgomery is like a worse. Is Montgomery a worse version of Dobbins? I feel like he is.
No, he scores touchdowns.
But even when he scores, we scored in 4 games, I think. 2 of them were big games because he had a long run against Baltimore and he had that crazy game against Cincinnati with 18 carries and a passing touchdown. The other 2 games spent like 12-ish, 13 points. I don't know.
It's a fair comp.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. Not as many total yards because he only gets 12 carries a game.
Who has more catches this year? J.K. Dobbins or David Montgomery?
Montgomery.
I don't know the answer. I'll look at
it. Giants are at the Bears. How are you approaching, Jamie, the Bears running backs?
I would start them both if you need to. They're both top 20 running backs for me. Swift ahead of Monangai by a couple spots.
I don't think it's a couple spots. It should be a bunch of spots, but I do like them both. I'd be a little nervous about just how much work Monangai is going to get, but you can't help but notice over their last 2 games together, they played a very close amount of snaps. Like DeAndre Swift, slight majority in terms of snaps, but a little bit bigger of a majority. Let's call it somewhere between like 5 and 8 touches ahead of Kyle Monangai. I don't mind Monangai this week if you're struggling a little bit at running back, but Swift to me is awesome. Montgomery and Dobbins, who has more catches? You both said Montgomery. You are both correct. 13 to 11.
Good thing it wasn't a tie.
Would we have got a mushroom reference if it was a tie?
No, much worse.
Rams are at the 49ers. Do we like Juwan Jennings?
Yeah, he's not bad.
I'm going to try when we get to the game. Yeah, I'll do it right now.
Yeah, okay.
I'm going to try to convince you on Juwan Jennings. All right.
Okay, let's keep in mind that I've already got him as a high-end flex.
Target share, last 3 games, 29.2%, 22.6%, 21.7%. But they just haven't been throwing the ball a lot. Mac Jones in those games, 26 pass attempts, 32 and 24. They ran the ball all over Atlanta. The next game was at Houston. That's a tough matchup. And then they ran the ball all over the Giants. The Rams, they allow 3.8 yards per carry to running backs.
They're great.
They haven't allowed a rushing touchdown to a running back, as Jamie says every time. And they score a bunch of points. So I'm thinking we actually could get 35 or more pass attempts from whichever quarterback it is. You give me a 20 20% or more target share. We're talking 7 or more targets.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a good opportunity here for Juwan Jennings.
Completely agree. I would start him ahead of, we talked about Debo a minute ago. I would start him ahead of Debo in full PPR, Khalil Shakir. I have him ahead of DJ Moore. I still feel good about that as of now. The Bucks receivers outside of Ibuka.
Actual game of the week, yeah! The Rams at the Niners. Not that game in Germany. Hey, this is the game of the week, yeah! All right, sorry about that. Was a legit.
Why do you apologize after you do it?
It was a legit thought about Juwan Jennings. It wasn't just
so right. The one thing I was going to add is when the week started, I didn't want to chase what he did last week. We talk about it all the time. When a player has a big week, fantasy managers just generally tend to gravitate toward those guys because they saw them do well. They think they're going to do it again. And he was not good in the 4 games prior by a long shot. But I think volume will be there. I actually think it'll be a little better for him if it's Brock Purdy instead of Mac Jones, but he's been playing well. Looks like the number 1 target there among wide receivers. Kittle has not been as involved as we'd like. Well, Juwan Jennings is a high-end number 3 receiver as a flex play. I'm good with it.
All right, Jamie, Arizona's at Seattle. Is Marvin Harrison Jr. a must start?
Yes. I think you just have to look at, again, what we're dealing with for this week, who's out, and what he just was able to accomplish with Jacoby Brissett starting. Remember, he's played a game and a half with Jacoby Brissett prior to last week and then looks awesome. Clearly, matchup was fantastic. But I think you just have to say at this point, solid number 2 receiver.
A.J. Brown or Marvin Harrison?
Marvin Harrison.
I agree.
Ooh, interesting. Okay, and then New Orleans is at Carolina. Who do you like better, Tetairoa McMillan or Chris Olave?
McMillan by a spot or 2.
I've got Olave 1 spot higher in full PPR.
All right. Heath has Olave, I think 12th, something like that. You guys are closer to 20th. Sunday.
He's a number 2 receiver. Should get a lot of volume. Not the toughest matchup in the world. Saints should be trailing. It's kind of easy to figure this game out.
Yeah, that's why it's last. And Bryce Young, by the way, 6 straight games with 30 or fewer pass attempts. 4 of those games, 25 or fewer pass attempts. This is a power run team when they can be. They this is what they do.
They will be.
Yeah, they will be.
We could knock out this game right now if you really wanted to.
That's okay. Sunday. We've got 2 live streams for you in the morning, 8:30 to 9:30 a.m. and then noon to 1, answering your questions at youtube.com/fantasyfootball today. Join us then. And let's get right to Philadelphia at Green Bay. I don't usually give this kind of stat of the game, but I'll give it to you anyway. The Packers allow the fewest fantasy points to DSTs. They have not faced the toughest competition, but very few sacks, very few turnovers for the Packers. Do you like either of the DSTs in this game, guys?
No.
Nope.
Okay. All right. What are we thinking here in terms of the score? Is 46 is the total, which is high, but it's not super high or anything. Jamie, I think we want pass attempts, right? Are we going to get that in this game?
It's hard to say based on how these two teams operate. They both want to be very slow and methodical, and they do have good defenses. While they're not great DSTs, they could have good defenses. The Eagles are going to try and establish the run because that's what they've either tried to do or have had success doing it, like we saw against the Giants. And for the Packers, look, they just lost their best receiving threat. You said Matthew Golden and Dontavian Wicks are trending in the right direction, so the receiving core is going to be healthy. But is that what they really want to do to Jordan Love? Because when they've been their most successful, it's been when his pass attempts have been under 30. So I think unless the hope would be is that the Eagles come out and score however they do it, and the Packers are chasing points, and then we get a little bit more of a competitive game as it goes on. But I wouldn't anticipate this going much over the total if it does go over.
I'm taking back what I said. I like the Eagles defense. Jalen Phillips is there. That improves their pass rush. Nolan Smith's healthy. Yeah. Jacorian Bennett's healthy. So at least they're getting a little bit deeper at cornerback. At least they've got options in case one guy gets burned by a Christian Watson deep ball or a Matthew Golden deep ball.
Well, they added 2 corners.
Just kidding. Matthew Golden isn't going to get a deep ball. They did. Michael Carter is their new slot corner. He's burnable. Why am I blanking on the other guy they added?
Jair Alexander.
Jair Alexander. Maybe he ends up playing revenge game for Jair Alexander. That would be something. But I ultimately, I've seen it enough to know that when Jordan Love is pressured, he's not nearly as good. The metrics are terrible. His completion rate is below 40%.
Ooh.
So I think that's what the Eagles are going to try and do. It doesn't mean they're going to blitz a lot, but their pass rush got better just by adding Jalen Phillips. So they'll rush 4, they'll play zone behind, and it could end up being kind of messy for Green Bay.
So I guess what I'm asking is a weird in a Philadelphia Green Bay game with all this talent. And you even think about Barkley before what he was before he faced, the layup that is the Giants, or Tank Bigsby and Brian Robinson ran all over them recently. Jacobs has had a lot of tough matchups this year, and usually he's in about the 14 to 15 point range. Is there a single player in this game that you're fired up about? You think he's going to have a really good game?
No.
Jalen.
What do we say? What were the 3 categories?
Sit, reluctant start, and excited start, I think.
Yeah, so this is these guys, a lot of these guys are between start and reluctant start. Or must start and reluctant start.
Oh, must start. Okay. Dave, you have Hurts 4th. So that's a big.
Yeah, I think he could be very good.
All right. And Jamie, you have him 9th.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of where he's been most of the season.
And there isn't a human on the planet that's reluctantly starting Barkley or Jacobs.
Well, you could start Dowdle over them.
That's true. And I would.
You're not going to start Swift or Monangai over them, are you?
Definitely
I
not
Monangai if Swift was out over them.
Yes. I'd be down for that. Or the opposite. If Monangai were out somehow and Swift were starting, I'd start Swift. And I could see a way where Swift outperforms them. No, I'm not ready to rank it that way.
I like Judkins better than both.
Man, if we had seen more from Judkins, and if his shoulder were healthy, I'd be completely on board with that.
What haven't you seen from Judkins?
I've seen the Brown. First of all, I've seen Judkins, like, even in the games where he's had 3 touchdowns, the rushing efficiency has been great. We know his shoulder isn't 100%. We know that they've got other running.
We don't know that his shoulder isn't 100%.
Yeah, I don't think it is.
Well, we don't know that, though.
He's practicing in full. We have to go by these healthy.
That's fine, but could Judkins go out and have 150 yards and 2 touchdowns? Yeah.
I mean, this is also a guy that had back-to-back good games against the Packers and the Lions.
Yeah, you can make the case. I like them all.
Okay. And then, Jamie, it's interesting. Jalen Hurts is QB4 per game in 6-point per passing touchdown leagues. He's not really getting his due, but a lot of weeks he's around, the 22, 23 point range. So I understand what you're saying.
He's a solid start. I mean, nobody's sitting him. I don't think anybody went to the waiver wire to say I have to replace Jalen Hurts for this week.
Right. No one's getting Mariota.
There's a lot of really exciting quarterbacks. There's Goff, Caleb, Dart, Stafford.
Should have had one last night and he didn't perform well.
Yeah, but these guys are good. No, Hurts. Sorry, Nix. I didn't mean to take a shot at him like that. All right, so Hurts again, 9th for Jamie, 11th for Heath, 4th for Dave. Barkley is a start. He's around 10th in the rankings. Jacobs is pretty close to that. How would you start Romeo Doubs over either of the Packers of the Eagles receivers?
I would start him over Smith with Brown playing. Yes,
I actually like Smith the best of the 3.
His targets have just been incredible, and in 2 of those games he's been very good. So if the expectation is they're chasing points, and now there's no Tucker Kraft, like, he's going to get 8+ targets.
Yeah,
it would make sense.
Dave, why do you like Smith better than Brown?
First of all, just the fact that he's running against zone versus man, I think that helps. Smith can beat any type of coverage. I think he can make more explosive plays than AJ Brown. So would take the shot on him over Brown.
Okay. And then Luke Musgrave or Dallas Goedert?
Goddard.
The Eagles are really good against tight ends. But there has only been one game all year where all 3 Eagles pass catchers have scored double-digit PPR fantasy points. And it happened when Dallas Goedert had a 33-yard touchdown catch that gave him, I think, 10.3 PPR fantasy points. He had 1 catch on 2 targets. So one of them is going to disappoint. The Packers have struggled against tight ends. Dallas Goedert, his target share, I mean, he's scary. He better score because usually he's, 16% or lower in target share. All right. Jordan Love is 17th for you guys. Mariota or Love?
Mario.
Who do I have ranked higher? I have Love ranked higher.
Looking at chat questions, Goddard or Loveland?
Goddard.
AJ Brown or AJ Brown or Travion Henderson, assuming Stevenson were out.
AJ Brown.
Pretty sure I have Brown higher.
AJ Brown or Rashad White?
AJ Brown.
Brown.
AJ Brown or Quinshon Judkins? PPR.
Judkins.
Quinshon.
All right.
You got me thinking about Quinshon now.
Yeah, this is when Quinshon usually does well, right? Good
Sure.
match.
I mean, there was one of the Browns beat writers said yesterday, like the Browns are making it very clear he's going to be the focal point of their offense. The Jets, prior to the Quinnen Williams trade, they allow 136 rushing yards per game. They just lose Quinnen Williams. I mean, this just feels like a Judkins game. Like if I knew he was healthy 100%, because obviously Dave has a point that there may be some concern. But when I have to make the decision on start of the week, like this was the guy I was hoping to use.
I got a couple of Dobbs questions here. Dobbs or Jawan Jennings?
Dobbs.
I have Dobbs higher.
Yeah. I mean, they're similar, but Dobbs has just been better. Gadsden, Kamani Vidal, Romeo Dobbs, or Garrett Wilson? Oh, so Wilson, right?
Wilson.
All right. What about the other three? Gadsden, Vidal, Dobbs. Who would you take there?
I have Dobbs one spot ahead of Gadsden in my full PPR flex ranks.
Yeah, right. Dobbs would be the choice.
Okay, we're going to our next game. It's Detroit at Washington. It's tough to come up with a stat of the game for this, but it has been mentioned that Zach Ertz has been pretty bad with Marcus Mariota. And I just want to point out that all of the three teams that Zach Ertz faced with Mariota are currently top 7 against tight ends.
That's fair. Las Vegas, Atlanta, and Kansas City.
Yeah. So I just thought, again, this look kind of grasping it's for straws here, but
I got one for you. The Commanders in the last 3 weeks are number 2 in most fantasy points allowed to opposing wide receivers.
Yeah, this is it. This is the best. This might be the best matchup now.
If this was in Detroit, Jared Goff would be my number 1 quarterback.
It could be on the high school field in Iowa City. Jared Goff is going to be good in this game. He might not be number 1 good, but he's going to be good just because it's so easy for him.
Yeah, it's the worst pass defense in football, on a per attempt basis. There have been a lot of quarterbacks. 3 quarterbacks have scored 24.9 or more fantasy points with 31 or fewer pass attempts. So you just don't have to throw much against them, like Sam Darnold killed them last week. And they're even more injured than they've been. The only issue is they may not score a lot of points. So that's why they're not quite Dallas, right? Because you're not going to get into shootouts with Washington. But Goff, you guys have Jamie has him 10th. Dave has him 12th. Heath has him 7th. So we like Jared Goff this week. We like Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery. All right. So how about that Patriots Bucks game, right? Where you got these replacement running backs, assuming Ramondre and Bucky are out. Rashad White, Sean Tucker, Travion Henderson, Terrell Jennings. Where would David Montgomery slot in, Jamie, amongst those guys?
You confused me there because I thought you said Dave.
I did first. My bad.
In PPR, I would go with Henderson and White over Montgomery because I think both guys are going to catch a lot of passes this week. In non-PPR, Montgomery over both because I think Montgomery will score. Those guys have been a little bit allergic to the end zone. In half PPR, I would probably go with the Patriots Bucks guys just because of the receptions.
Only thing I'll disagree on is Rashad White. I do think he'll catch the ball a lot. I don't know how effective he'll be as a runner, whether or not he'll score. Patriots run defense is really good. So I'd be surprised if Rashad White was able to break them for a bunch of big runs.
Yeah, I totally agree. This feels like I forget which game it was, but he had a 41-yard rushing game. I think it was Seattle. He had a 41-yard rushing game and scored in that game, but I think he had 4 catches. Like this feels like that type of game for him where you're hoping that he finds the end zone. But I do think, you look at the Patriots, we talked about this yesterday, their last four games, they've allowed 32 receptions to running backs. Ooh. And if there's ever an opportunity for Rashad White to be involved in the passing game, it's this week.
Do you have the numbers on what Rashad White's done catching the ball? Like how many PPR points has he got?
Oh, his PPR points?
His PPR points, Rashad White.
Yeah. All right. So what? Just since Bucky Irving,
because that's 4. Whatever that is, that's your for Rashad White.
4 for 30, 3 for 21, 4 for 6, and 2 for 26.
7, 5, 4, 4. All right.
Yeah.
I wish it was a little higher. I wish I had a Maserati.
All right.
So it's definitely like you could see a pretty easy path for Rashad White to get 10 PPR points.
Yeah.
Henderson and
we're
Montgomery.
on
have
Det-
passed higher.
We're on Detroit, Washington.
Yeah, I know. I brought it back.
Okay. Start us at Jamison Williams again. Amazing, great matchup here. You guys have him outside the top. Yeah, right around 36. So behind Dobbs, behind Jennings, stuff like that. It still feels like a big gamble with JMO to you guys.
Yeah, I mean, look, he hasn't had a lot of consistent targets. It's a great matchup. He could obviously just make one play like we saw against the Vikings last week, and your production save. There's a lot of, I don't know, a lot of guys. There's several guys this week that kind of fall into a similar boat for me that are going to be big play dependent. You hope that they score. Tez Johnson, I think you can count on his targets being there, but I think he's going to be big play dependent. Darius Slayton has had 2 big plays that he should have had each of the last 2 weeks. Opportunity against a Bears secondary that's given up big plays, so there's a chance there. And then Jamison Williams is another guy. I guess you want to take it even further, a little bit higher end, but Quentin Johnston, just these guys that are going to be big play dependent with the opportunities to make them. So if you were to tell me right now that Jamison is getting 4+ targets, he would be significantly higher, even just on that number alone.
Okay. Sam Laporta, you guys have a start. I think it'll be interesting. Last week I talked about how he does really well against zone, and the Vikings were a heavy zone team. Washington is a heavy man team.
Right.
But Travis Kelce is also someone who's much better against zone than man, and he had a huge game against Washington. So
there was a busted play where he was able to get open for like 50.
This secondary is so bad. Like, you just want to start guys against them.
Yeah, exactly.
Gadsden or Laporta?
I'll take Laporta this week.
I've got Gadsden higher.
All right. For Washington, really just
flex, and we're done.
I do think Mariota is going to have the chance to make plays with his legs here. We've seen 2 of the last 4 quarterbacks against this defense score rushing touchdowns. So he's got 88 rushing yards in his last 3 games. It's not going to be pretty. He's not a must-start guy by any stretch, but if you need a quarterback this week, he's not a bad pivot play.
Question for this game, Vidal or JMO?
I'd take a chance with JMO.
I think I would too.
As a matter of fact, I'm doing that in a league. I had a choice of who to play at flex, and yesterday setting the lineup, benched Vidal, went with JMO.
All right. Well, what if it were Vidal versus Deebo Samuel?
I'd go Vidal.
I'd go Deebo.
All right, Deebo, one positive for him is he has a target share of 20% or better in all but 1 game. Last week, they threw 22 passes. Hopefully, they can throw a little bit more this week. He has 3 targets in his last 3 games of 10 or more air yards. It is all short stuff, and he's not doing the yak stuff that we're used to seeing from him.
Nope.
And then Ertz is a sit for you guys. Heath has him 14th. You guys have him 21st and 19th on Zach Ertz, and it's just been a struggle. I mean, and I'm not even going to ask about the running backs because we are not starting the running backs. Dave and I talked about a couple of deep league running backs to stash just in case. Dave had said Sean Tucker, which is a great call. I said, I don't really believe this, but Chris Rodriguez, just maybe they're going to him. Again, it's like a Hail Mary, but he was better than Bill last week. And I think he might get the goal line stuff. He might. All right, we're going to take Detroit's DST is 8th for Jamie and 2nd for Dave, so you can start Detroit's DST if you are so inclined. We are going to take a break and come back with the Giants and the Bears, which is a fun one for fantasy. We'll be right back.
This is European soccer's biggest stage.
Written in the stars! What a difference she has made!
The question is, can you handle it?
Can you handle it?
The crowd here feels electric. Stream every match of the UEFA Women's Champions League on Paramount+.
Giants at the Bears. Dave, you and me, baby. Bragging rights.
No, I'm not a Bears fan.
Okay. Well,
if you want, I will call up my son, and you and Ryan can have a bet on the game. He is somehow still a Bears fan.
I already have a future bet. I think it might be next. It's coming up with Chad Smith of the Red Hot Chili Peppers of Giants at the Lions, and I think he gave me 13 points. So that's good. This Bears are 4.5 points.
Basically gave it away.
Very good. Yes, and being a Giants fan, a lot of scar tissue on that. So anyway, let's talk about this game. Who's your favorite quarterback in this game?
Jackson Dart.
Jackson Dart of the week, as Jamie would say. Would you start both of these guys over Jared Goff?
Yes.
Yes, as of now.
I think a storyline in this game is the Giants injury report, because they weren't that bad of a defense until midway through the Denver game when Paulson Adebo and Javon Holland got hurt. Then the next week, Cordell Flott, another starting corner, he got a concussion. Well, they're starting to get a little healthier. Flott looks like he's going to be back. Holland's been limited. Not going to get Adebo this week. So this wasn't the layup that it's been since Bo Nix and Jalen Hurts had great games and Mac Jones had like 115 passer rating or something. So does that matter to you as you look at Odunze and DJ Moore and Caleb Williams?
A little bit. I think Adebo is the one who is the best corner that the Giants have. And if he's playing, that hurts the matchup a little bit, but
he's not going to play.
The way that Chicago's been rolling right now, I just feel like you can have confidence, even though Odunze is coming off of a donut, like you can have confidence in him to bounce back. DJ Moore to at least get you double digits in PPR. The run game should be good. And Caleb Williams should be able to make plays as well.
Okay, so how would you rank the 4 relevant wide receivers in this game?
Odunze 1, Wandale 2, Slayton 3, Moore 4.
I'll take Moore over Slayton.
Okay. And we're going to sit the Giants running back. Would you start a Commanders running back or a Giants running back?
Both Giants.
Both Giants running backs over a Commanders running back.
But we're going to want to sit them if we can. And yeah, so let's talk more about Swift and Monangai here. Dave, you think it's not that close, right? You said there's bigger gap between Swift and Monangai to you?
I just think that Monangai's played great, and last week he took advantage of a fantastic matchup, and he was really good. And this is another really good matchup. Last 3 games, Giants have allowed 6.1 yards per carry to opposing running backs. So it should be awesome, but he's not going to get the same type of workload. So I would imagine that both running backs will have awesome efficiency. I am not totally convinced that Monangai is the goal line guy. He could be, but I would take my chances on Swift ahead of Monangai. Swift is a borderline top 12 running back. Monangai is a borderline number 2, 3 running back.
Jamie,
I agree with that. I just have a little bit more optimism that they're going to split probably a little bit closer than what we saw prior to Swift missing time, because Monangai was so great last week in a great matchup. And this has been something that was sort of building, starting with that New Orleans game where he had a great performance as well. So I just hope, because Dave and I are obviously on the same page, and I'm sure most people are going to treat it that way. I hope the Bears are going to treat it that way, that we didn't get the Monangai took advantage of Swift's absence and is now the guy, similar to what Rico Dowdle did to Chuba Hubbard in Carolina. And there's a heavy switch coming for the backfield touches. So just because of the week and who we're missing, and because of the matchup and what the Bears have shown us, I think there's an opportunity for both these guys to be successful, similar to what they did against the Saints.
The Giants' run defense might as well be the Bengals. You just so
and they're second worst. It's not like they're far off.
Right. But it's like the 2 straight weeks of 2 guys being good against them. It's hard to ask for that. It's hard to, expect that, but it does happen with this lousy team.
Yeah, I give you an example. Like I have one team where I think I mentioned this the other day. Like I'm starting Monangai over Ken Walker without any hesitation.
Okay.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
Let's see. So Dart, who are the guys you're starting ahead of Dart?
Josh Allen, Lamar first. Lamar, Allen, Stafford in the game of the week, and Jalen Hurts. And that is it.
Yeah, I would start Dart over Hurts. The only other guy for me that'd be different would be Herbert.
Herbert ahead of Dart.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then how about Caleb Williams?
He's right not far behind Dart, but that's one I may move behind Goff just because I love the situation for Goff so much.
Okay.
And I also fear that the Bears are going to run a lot.
That's right. I was going to get to that. Right. It's if you have Jamie has 2 running backs ranked in the top 21 or something. Dave, not quite that high, but the Bears might have to score 35 points or something for it all to work out.
I mean, they might.
Well,
it could.
I got news for you. Their defense, it's better than the Giants defense, but it's not that much better than the Giants defense.
Let's talk about the tight ends here. And I think we'll spend a little more time on Rome Odunze in a minute here. I'll explain why the matchup is better this week than it was last week, perhaps. But Theo Johnson is 17th for 16th to 18th for all of you guys. He has one game with more than 34 yards and was that fluky touchdown catch he had against Denver. But then, Colston Loveland. So I'm pretty interested in him. But here's another guy where he is awful so far against man. He's only run 33 routes against man, but horrible. One of the worst yards per route runs for Colston Loveland of any tight end against man coverage. Great against zone. The Giants play the second most man in the NFL. Only Cleveland plays more. So
but
I don't know.
Men are not that great.
Yeah, well, that's true. But it's weird. It's like they did well against Kelsey. They did great against Juwan Johnson. They did well against Evan Ingram. They did well against George Kittle. They did horrible against Dallas Goedert twice and Jake Ferguson. So they're not always a good matchup for tight ends. So, Dave, how do you feel about Loveland?
Too many mouths to feed in that Chicago offense. If it's a bounce back game for Odunze and DJ Moore gets his usual workload, plus Luther Burden's back, plus Cole Kmet is back, then I'm worried about the target volume for Colston Loveland.
And Jamie, you're higher on him. I think you have him 11th.
I'm just, it's obviously a lot of speculation because, all we heard going into their bye week was they were trying to get him ramped up. And then we see it coming out of their bye week. The hard part is that it coincided with Kmet being in and out of the lineup. And so if Kmet is going to sort of regain his footing a little bit and be a little bit more involved in the passing game or as much involved as he was in the passing game, which was not much, but still enough to be a hindrance to Loveland, then we don't get the targets that we need here. And to Dave's point, there are a lot of mouths to feed for a game where they may be having a lot of success running the ball and not needing to throw as much. That being said, once you start to get to like that tight end group of Loveland and Njoku with Fannin and Andrews and Schultz and Juwan Johnson, and there's a lot of good guys and good potential there. I'm just going to play the upside card, and I think Loveland has more upside than that group.
Yeah, just last thing on Kmet and Loveland is that Loveland, his route participation is always higher when Kmet's not on the field, except for last week. Last week, Kmet played for a half, and he barely played Kmet. So I just want to see if they're making some type of transition.
Exactly.
It could be more of a stash play, right? It's like, well, let's see if this happens again, where Kmet is not really a factor, and they're maybe just going to Loveland, and we'll see if that continues. But you might not want to start him.
But this was also, again, not to make the one-to-one comparison. This is how Oronde Gadsden got going to, finally started to get usage, and then all of a sudden it's like, how do you put that back in the box?
Yes, exactly.
And actually, same thing with Mason Taylor too. It took a couple weeks, and they started using Mason Taylor, and then again, usage was just too good to overlook. Difference in that case is there's not a lot of talent around him.
Rome Odunze, 14th for Jamie, 16th for Dave, 27th for Heath. I talked about this on Beyond the Box Score. The Cincinnati Bengals, believe it or not, weren't necessarily a great matchup for Odunze because they keep everything in front of them. They give up, the Cincinnati Bengals see one of the lowest wide receiver ADOTs in the NFL, and they give up a ton of yak. So that's kind of their strategy defensively, and teams just throw short on them and get a lot of yak. Giants are not the same type of defense. So, and plus he's Rome Odunze. He's really good. So you guys have faith in him. Would you start him over A.J. Brown?
Yes.
Yes.
All right.
You mentioned that the Giants play a lot of man coverage.
I did.
His target per route run rate is 33% going into last week against man coverage versus 20% against zone coverage.
Wow.
33%. So that is a humongous, first of all, it's a humongous target per route rate at 33%. And second of all, that's a big jump and a huge difference. And that's where I would be encouraged to start Rome Odunze, because if he's saying man coverage, especially if the Giants are going to be without their top corner, then he's going to get open. He's going to have some opportunities. It's just, the more I think about this game, and it's happening as we sit here, the more I'm starting to get worried about how good the Bears' run game can be, because they have really improved that run game. Offensive line deserves a ton of credit. The coaches deserve a ton of credit, and both the running backs have been great. If they're going to run the ball as well as the matchup suggests, this could be a game like New Orleans all the way, where Caleb Williams doesn't throw that much.
I know.
And and maybe we are all just a little too high on all the pass catcher players. And
I do think there's the other side of this, which is why we all love Jackson Dart, is that the Giants should be able to score. And we saw this last week where their run game was amazing and Caleb Williams was amazing. We could get the shootout that we're hoping for here.
Rapid fire questions here. Monangai or Dowdle? That's easy. Let's go Dowdle.
What?
Odunze, Waddle, Debo, Nico. Choose two.
No, one of those does not belong, and that's Debo. I would go Nico and Waddle.
I would too.
Interesting. I thought maybe you'd go Odunze over Nico with the backup quarterback, but okay. DJ Moore or Jawan Jennings?
Have you seen the Jaguars defense lately?
Jawan Jennings over DJ Moo.
I mean, you're talking about one of the biggest busts in fantasy right now in Nico Collins.
Yeah, but they've allowed 9 touchdowns in the last 2 weeks to quarterbacks.
Right. Fingers crossed, man. Zacchaeus or Olamide Zacchaeus or Cedric Tillman?
If we're talking stashes, it's Tillman.
No, not.
But guess what? That's what I would default to. Like if I've got it, as long as Tillman is activated, he'd be the one I'd want on my team. If I had to start him, it's against the Jets. Sauce Gardner's gone. I guess I'd go in that direction.
I'll go Zacchaeus because his quarterback will actually throw to him.
Slayton or Downs?
Slayton.
Loveland or Mason Taylor?
Loveland.
I think I have Loveland higher.
Monangai or Vidal?
Monangai.
I have Taylor higher. Vidal.
And Swift or Rashad White?
DeAndre Swift.
Okay. On to our next game. Bears suck, Dave. Rams are at the 49ers. Fired up about
Wan'Dale Robinson. Wow.
What's that?
You didn't talk about the best receiver.
Oh, yeah. You guys have him top 24, Wan'Dale Robinson. I had you ranked the receivers, so I apologize for that. But Wan'Dale or Monangai?
Wan'Dale,
but that's close.
Rams are at the 49ers. Okay, Rams are 4.5-point road favorites. This was a Thursday night game earlier in the year, and it was fun. Yeah. Matthew Stafford is a must start. And I just want to say this about Stafford. What he's doing right now, he is on pace for 4,562 yards, 47 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. It's not that different than what he did in 2021 when they won the Super Bowl. And that year, he was the number 8 quarterback per game, on pace for 4,886 yards, 41 touchdowns, and 17 interceptions. So we actually kind of have seen this before from Matthew Stafford. Just wanted to point that out. Of course, he's on an insane run right now. In his last 5 games, he's on pace for 54 touchdowns and no interceptions. But all right, start him. He's been great. Kyren, is Kyren kind of like Barkley to you? Like you're going to start him, but maybe thinking this won't be his best game? Or are you pumped for Kyren?
I mean, again, given the week, I'm thrilled to have Kyren Williams, but it's kind of the same thing all the time with him, right? It's, you're hoping for a touchdown.
Okay. Start Adams, start Puka, sit the tight ends. Although, it is a good matchup, but you're not starting Higbee. Okay. So that brings us to the other side of the ball. Start McCaffrey. Jamie, break down the passing game and the options here for the 49ers.
You're still starting Kittle. You can certainly make the case that some of these other tight ends that have popped up over the course of the season are better than him. So, Rondé Gadsden, a healthy, Harold Fannin, I would take those guys over Kittle at this point right now. But that's not something I'd be doing in terms of making a transaction. I would just kind of ride it out with Kittle, and hopefully this is his, game that he's due. We've seen the Rams sort of hit or miss against tight ends throughout the course of the season, and clearly we've seen the 49ers production at tight end hit or miss over the course of the season, so I think he said it best. This isn't like the last chance for Kittle, but I think it's the last chance if you have somebody else on your bench that you like better. So again, if you picked up Gadsden or you picked up Fannin or, we get a great game from Jawan Johnson, you might have to start considering other options. We talked about Jennings. He's a good number 3 receiver, 7+ targets in 2 of his last 3. 7 targets exactly in 2 of his last 3. Last week scored a touchdown. Should be the go-to guy in the receiving core, and hopefully he comes through with another strong performance. If you go back to what he did last year in one game against the Rams, it was historic with a 3-touchdown game. So it would be great to get that again. And then we'll see if who the quarterback is. I think for Kittle and hopefully for Jennings, Purdy's eventual return, whether it's this week or soon, will help both those guys because he favors them, quite a bit.
I don't really know that there's much else to say about this game. I don't want to linger. I would say that everything is really bad for George Kittle. Target share. Yeah, his yak is pathetic. Career low. Yeah, career low by far in Yak, career low ADOT, career low explosive play rate. Half of what it was last year's explosive play rate, but it's such a small sample size. So yeah, he's due for regression, I think. Basically, let's go.
I hope so. And to your point about them throwing more, that would be the case. You know, the one game that you referenced that they didn't throw the ball a lot and they got dominated in time of possession was the Houston game. And the Rams have a defense that is not at Houston's level, but it's not far off. And so if the Rams want to play keep away, they can.
Okay. And again, I think let's do some Kittle ors. Kittle or Goddard.
Kittle
or Njoku. If
Fannon's out, I'll take Njoku.
Kittle.
And if Fannon's in, Kittle or Fannon?
Fannon.
Kittle or Tyler Warren?
Kittle.
Tough matchup for Warren. Kittle or Kincaid?
Kittle.
All right, Dave is Kittle in bits over there. All right.
Hopefully he's not Kittle in Pitts.
I don't want to shortchange this game.
Better.
49ers quarterback.
No, if he's Kittle as Pitts, that might be better. But, Kittle is the Pitts would be bad for 3 weeks in a row.
49ers quarterback or Brissett at Seattle?
I'll take 49ers quarterback.
I think I'll take Brissett.
49ers quarterback or Baker Mayfield?
I'll take Purdy. I'll go Purdy, Brissett, Jones. Sorry, what was the last one?
Baker Mayfield.
Mayfield over any of those quarterbacks.
Michael Penix.
I'll take Penix over the 49ers quarterbacks. I'll take Purdy over Penix.
Purdy over Penix. Penix over Mac.
All right. Just one point. Mac Jones played great last week. I know that the points weren't there, but again, his passer rating was insane. He just threw, I think, 24 passes or something like that, completed most of them. So I don't think he's coming off a bad game. He's coming off a game where they just ran out the clock against the Giants. Speaking of the Giants, it was pointed out in the chat, and it's worth mentioning. The weather looks yucky in Chicago this weekend. So that is something that could impact our rankings. And I'm thinking of my Caleb Williams team, and I'm just getting a little nervous about it. But it's going to be cold. It could be snowy, maybe a little wet. So we'll see. We're going to keep an eye on it. But you got to make
windy. That's going to be the most important factor.
It's Chicago. So be flexible there. But I can't say what the weather is yet. It's only Friday morning for us, but we just have to keep that in mind. Another thing people are talking about is that there's just a recent report that Jaden Daniels got some good news, and the Commanders are not putting him on IR yet. So his injury may not be as severe as once feared, and we might see him.
Good.
I don't know. Somewhat soon. Let's keep our fingers crossed.
Their bye is week 12, so week 13 might make some sense.
Arizona is at Seattle. Stat of the game, only 2 quarterbacks have scored more than 18.1 fantasy points in 6-point per passing touchdown leagues against Arizona. One of them was Bryce Young, who threw 55 passes. One of them was Daniel Jones, who had a rushing touchdown. So this has actually been a pretty tough matchup. Jamie, starter sit Sam Darnold.
Low-end starter. I wouldn't expect one of his best games, but you said 18.1. He had that number against them the last time, so I would expect a little bit better than that. Again, just getting Rashid Shaheed, they'll probably show off their shiny new toy and see if there's something there right away, which, he steps in and knows the offense without hopefully any hesitation because he was with Clint Kubiak in New Orleans last year. And with the way that Jackson Smith and the Jigba is playing, with the way that Darnold's playing himself, and I think just the way the offense is operating where they can't run the ball, that if we get maybe a slight uptick in pass attempts for Darnold, who only needed 24 to get to 330 and 4 touchdowns last week, could just be absolutely insane. So I don't want to get away from Sam Darnold unless the matchup is overwhelmingly disgusting, and I don't think that this is one of those cases.
It's not.
Yeah, I think they might be missing Max Melton, one of their cornerbacks for Arizona. They've actually been better against the pass with him off the field. But that's probably a coincidence. All right, so Darnold's playing outstanding. We'll stay on that team. Actually, why don't we just talk about the running backs in general? If you will, if we could sit down for a little reading time. I found a very nice snippet from AZ Central about the usage of the Cardinals running backs last week, because Knight played like 2/3 of the snaps, but DeMarcado got 2/3 of the carries.
Mm-hmm.
So here's what it said. That was an inversion of their typical roles, but the Cardinals often asked DeMarcado to pass protect against a blitz-heavy Cowboys approach, preventing him from getting into routes, even on passing downs. Meanwhile, the Cardinals often passed on early downs out of heavy personnel in order to take advantage of Dallas selling out to stop the run. That meant Bam Knight was used more than normal in the passing game. This week, it won't be so easy to take advantage of mismatches. The Seahawks rarely play in base defense, even against heavy personnel packages, blah, blah, blah. So a little insight on why it looked the way it did last week. Are you starting any running back in this game?
I would prefer not to.
I would take the chance on Kenneth Walker.
I think we just save that clip and play it every week because that's what one of us says every week, that I will take the chance on Ken Walker, and it's wrong every week.
4 straight games with single-digit PPR fantasy points. How many points are you hoping for, Dave, with your risk here on Kenneth Walker?
I will be bold and say double-digit.
The last time that he had double digits was the last meeting against this team, and it was 12. Like, we're begging for 12 points at this point from him.
I do think that if he's starting to get just a little bit more work, maybe the matchup is favorable just because he can attack the edges. That this is if Seattle, thinks to let him attack the edges against Arizona. And I think they'll be playing with a lead. So maybe there's a chance for him to get, let's go crazy, 13 carries. So it's more hope than anything else. I probably have him ranked too high, but I would still take the chance on him as a low end number 2 running back.
Which Cardinals running back do you prefer?
DeMarcado.
I mean, it's just basically, I think you have to approach it whoever's coming off the better game.
But it's not like I don't know where you have him ranked, Jamie, but he's not even a top 30 runner for me.
No, I would start both Giants running backs over both Cardinals running backs, like just with the hope of one of those guys doing something.
Yep.
Okay. Marvin Harrison Jr. is 15th or 16th for you guys, so we like him. And Jacoby Brissett, Dave, your thoughts on Brissett this week?
I think he's a good bye week replacement quarterback. There are too many other passers that have the same kind of upside, I guess we can say, if we're going to be generous, over Jacoby Brissett, but he's played so well. The problem is that in the past, I and others have given quarterbacks like this the benefit of the doubt in tough matchups, and they get beat down in a tough matchup. There is no question that this is a tough matchup. Seattle's defense is better than they were when Arizona faced them the first time this year. They're healthier than they were at that point. And even though it should be a game where Arizona throws a lot, and yeah, Brissett has 2 good targets with Trey McBride and Marvin Harrison, I struggle to see him having a turnover-free, high yardage, high touchdown game. Could he walk away with 275 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 turnovers? That I could buy into. That's still a pretty good game, but there are a lot of quarterbacks that I like better than him this week.
Okay. Let's take a look at some of the comments in the chat. Obviously, you're going to start Trey McBride. You're going to start JSN. Oh, yeah, before we do the chat, I'm sorry. What are we thinking about Rashid Shaheed? Torrey Horton, by the way, popped up on the injury report. He missed practice. Cooper Kupp was limited. So I would assume Shaheed would be the only other pass catcher you'd be interested in starting. Is he in the top 40 for you guys, Shaheed?
Yeah, he's in the top 30. Again, I think there's a chance for him to come in, hit the ground running, and get 5+ targets. I don't think that's a stretch. Torrey Horton was getting 4. So, you're looking at a similar type of role right away with maybe even more put on a veteran player, again, who knows the system. So it's not the easiest of matchups. We know the Cardinals have not been that forgiving against opposing wide receivers. But just under the circumstances, like, he's, for me, in that same range of Tez Johnson, Darius Slayton, Jameson Williams, these type of players that probably going to need a touchdown to help your day.
All right, now I'm going to read some chat questions. Jacoby Brissett or Trevor Lawrence?
Brissett.
DeMarcado or Ken Walker?
Walker for me.
I'm
reading this because I didn't do any for the 49ers game. Sorry about that. Juwan Jennings or Quentin Johnston?
Johnston.
I'd rather start Walker Texas Ranger over Ken Walker.
Yeah, me too.
Pick one in PPR. Bam, DeMarcado, or Kyle Pitts?
Pitts.
Pitts. Darnold or McCarthy?
Darnold.
Traded Ken Walker for Tedero McMillan.
I like it.
It's about even on the trade chart. I think
Charbonnet,
a little more value in full PPR.
Charbonnet or Travion Henderson in non-PPR?
That's a good one.
Boy.
Mm-hmm.
I'd probably stay
I'd
with Henderson.
take Travion.
Caleb Williams or Sam Darnold?
Caleb.
For now.
Would you droop Shaheed for Pierce?
I'd rather have Shaheed.
I think I would too.
Plus, you have Pierce's bye week coming up.
A-Rod or Brissett?
Jacoby.
Brissett.
And should we talk about A.J. Barner? Great match.
I believe he's hurt.
Is he? No, I didn't see that.
Maybe he'll get you 10 PPR points. Maybe he'll be inactive. Maybe
Tush
he'll
push.
get you 3 PPR points.
He is the tush push guy. They've run him. He's run 4 times this season. One of them at the goal line. All of them on 3rd or 4th and 1. AJ Barner. And his first matchup, he had 3 catches, 32 yards, and a touchdown. And Arroyo actually, I think, had a big game against Arizona too. He had he had 2 catches for 44 yards, which was kind of big for him. But we can't really recommend Barner. He's just not involved enough.
Barner
Seahawks DST is 4th for Dave, 4th for Jamie, 3rd for Dave. The Saints are at the Panthers. Unbelievable
podcast by now. If we had done this game earlier,
we'll be done in 3 minutes. The Saints had the ball for 16 minutes and 7 seconds last week. They ran 40 plays. They are horrible on the road. They've lost by 31, 12, 12, and 24 points on the road. They're actually quite competitive at home. They've lost by 7, 5, 6, and 20 at home with a win as well. But they are so bad on the road. So I think,
beat, by the way?
I think Teodoro McMillan is really the tough call here, because you guys said you have him and Olave back to back. I guess talk about both of them here, Dave, McMillan and Olave. How you feel?
I'm worried about volume for McMillan, and we've seen that in a bunch of games before, including as recently as I think last week, where he's just not getting huge target volume. The game isn't competitive.
Dave, it's 3 weeks in a row with 6 or fewer targets.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you for pointing that out. And it could be 4 weeks in a row after this game. It has nothing to do with a tough, stingy New Orleans defense. It has everything to do with Carolina building a lead with their run game. I was impressed with their offensive line, even with the injuries they had last week, knocking dudes over and making space for Rico Dowdle. It's great that they've given Rico this opportunity. He's earned it. He seems healthy. I know he had the groin issue earlier in the week. Hopefully he gets in the end zone. Hopefully he only does 1 Hingle McCrinkleberry pump and not 2 or 3. And he delivers a huge game. And if he's doing well, the Panthers aren't going to throw that much. They really don't want to throw that much. And it makes me nervous to start Teodoro McMillan as a result. So low end number 2 wide receiver at best. I could even see myself moving him down more, just thinking about Rico and how big of a game I think he's going to have.
Okay. Johnny Airport says Adam's shoulders have been unusually calm this morning. Do I need to get fired up? I'll try to get fired up about this. You guys only have Chris Olave 23rd, 22nd. Come on. No Rashid Shaheed. Who else are they going to throw to? I know the Panthers on paper, they're good against wide receivers, but they haven't stopped any good wide receiver. Well, they kind of have, but they haven't stopped that many good wide receivers this year. Chris Olave is going to have a big game. Shoulders are raised. He's a must start.
Right. I mean, he's a number 2. It feels very similar about him that I do about McMillan. You know, we saw 1 game again. Shaheed was there, but still 1 game with Tyler Shuck where he didn't feature him. I don't know if they're going to have the time of possession much more without the Panthers are going to run the ball in this game. So I don't think we're going to get a ton more plays. And you're still talking about, like you said, this is not an easy matchup for him. So I think they're both just low end number 2 receivers.
By the way, with McMillan, 6 or fewer targets in 3 straight games. There have been 5 wide receivers who have scored 16 or more PPR fantasy points against the Saints with 6 or fewer targets. So
yeah, he's going to probably have to score to have a big game.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
He just hasn't done that very often. Like he's not getting, what he have with the Darnold in the game with Darnold.
Which game? McMillan?
Yeah.
He played with Sam Darnold?
I'm not Andy Dalton, excuse me.
Oh, he had like 99 yards on 10 targets, I think.
Yeah, like he's not getting that this week, but I could see 6 for 70 and a touchdown.
Starter Sichuan Johnson.
I like him. Low end number 1 tight end in full PPR. Good consistency over the last few weeks. Target volume should go up. I think he's one of the benefactors of Shaheed leaving town too.
Right. So 4 targets last week. First time he's been in double digits in PPR points this season with less than 7 targets. Scored a touchdown. I agree. I think his targets will go up, and it's not a difficult matchup. I do think that he could be in the flex conversation, so if you want to play 2 tight ends, you can go that route.
Okay. Some questions from the chat. Devin Neal or Tyler Algier?
Neal.
Algier.
Adam's shoulders look like those dancing tube balloons at the car dealership. We're going to go Garrett Wilson over Tedero McMillan, but this one's closer. Tedero McMillan or Keenan Allen in non-PPR?
I'd go Keenan just because he scored more touchdowns, and hopefully he does again against Pittsburgh.
I would too.
All right. Think about that. I think that's about it. I don't even think I mentioned Alvin Kamara's name. Kamani Vidal or Alvin Kamara?
Neither is Kellen Moore.
Kamani.
Yeah.
Kamani over Kamara.
By default.
Yeah, man. I mean, Kamara, I wouldn't even consider starting him.
It's such a good matchup too.
He's gonna get a good rushing average, and he's gonna have a drive where he's just like ripping apart the Panthers, and it's gonna be 1st and goal from the 1, and you know what's gonna happen.
Yeah, Taysom Hill. But you know who else is a great matchup?
I was gonna say a Tyler Shuck fumble, but yeah, that too.
The Giants are a great matchup, right? 8 carries for 27 yards for.
Oh, he's
Alvin
been
Kamara
awful. There's
against
no
Giants.
argument for him.
Yeah. Bad offensive situation. He's not the young Alvin Kamara he once was. He's not getting targets. Everything is going against what I thought would happen.
All right. Last thing here is that we love Rico Dowdle. He's top 7, I think, for everybody. So start him. And the Panthers DST is also in play because pretty much every DST has been good against the Saints. They are top 8 for Dave and Jamie, not for Heath. That is it for fantasy football today. We will talk to you on the mailbag episode, which should be very fun with Dan. We're actually going a little early today, 11:45 a.m. Eastern. So mailbag, join us there. And of course, Sunday, 8:30 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. and noon to 1, youtube.com/fantasyfootball today. Have a wonderful weekend. Talk to you soon.